Hi, I'm Liz Granberg Jerome from Gypsy Dreamer Quilts, and I'm back for block 7 of the This Way or That second Saturday sampler for Quilters Paradise in Baldwin City, Kansas. And this month we're making the Dutchman's puzzle, which is entirely made of flying geese units, only this time we're doing flying geese that have a single color as the sky, and also flying geese that have a split sky of 2 colors. So let's get started. We're doing the quick flip technique here, to where we're using little squares to cut and make our flying geese. These here have the first pieces on. And because these are large flying geese, these are 3.5 by 6.5, I'm adding a second line of stitching and am going to use this as the stitching for the flying geese itself. And when I cut it off, I will have a extra half square triangle, and the extra half square triangles from these 12 8 flying geese will be enough to do a little small block or something extra. So this is an optional thing. You don't have to add the second line of stitching. So I'm going to go ahead. I've sewn the first ones on. You match them up, and I've put all of the yellow ones on the right side. And when I stitch these, I stitch from the center of the long edge out to the corner. That way the machine is less likely to cause you problems with the corners of starting at a point. And so when I trim this off, I can set aside that extra half square triangle, and then I'm ready to press this point back. And you want to sew, when you draw your line from corner to corner, which is the first stitching line, you want to sew right on it or towards the outer corner just a hair, so that when you press that out, you still keep your full size on this. Then you're going to add your second piece, and on the red ones, the red and gold, it will be white on the outside. And after the second piece is added to the blue one, they're both blue. And if you choose to do that second line of stitching, make sure that's to the outside in the scrap triangle, so that when it gets trimmed off, you're in a good place. So this one would then get stitched again from the long side out to the corner. And I have a couple of these here showing how they look. Again, I'm going to trim those outside corners off. And in this case, because I did the extra line of stitching, it's between. And then you press this out, and you have a flying geese. If you are familiar with the fast 4 no waste geese, you could use that technique for the 4 blue geese. But because we have the split sky, you need to do this particular version in order to get the sky in the proper position to build the block. So when these are sewn together, the blue is above the red. And in this case, and that puts, when you put them together, then all of the yellows will be in the center, and they follow each other around the block. And when I'm done making my geese, I have 2 rulers that I like to use to double check these before I sew them together. One is the Quilt in the Day finished geese ruler that has 3 by 6 or 1.5 by 3, and you would lay that on with the geese line matching up, and see if any trimming needs to be done. And I'm hoping when I press with the iron that this corner comes out a little bit further so that it continues to finish out my square properly. The other ruler I like is the wing clipper, and it's from Deb Tucker, and it is a multi-size geese ruler. So this one here I can do from a 1.5 by 1 all the way up to a 10.5 by 5.5. And again, you're going to check with that angled line in the geese, trim 2 sides, and then if you need to do some trimming, you're going to come back from the other direction and trim again on the outside as needed. And when you sew them together, I personally like to sew from the side with the geese point on top, so that when I'm sewing my 1/4 inch, I can make sure I'm close to crossing that point at the right point, so that when you open it up, you have nice points on your finished units with the 2 geese sewn together. And then press them towards the upper geese. Press it so that the point of the geese below is pointing up into the single layer of fabric on the second geese. And when you sew the 2 together, again, so press that seam towards this large side of the geese, and that makes a little less bulk when you're folding that over to press. And when you've made the 2 rows, one will be this direction and the other will be inverted the other, and it makes a nice center and will make those seams nest for you. And that's Flying Geese, the Dutchman's puzzle block for This Way or That, and I'll see you next month.